Welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast, your sanctuary with retreat experts, where we spill the tea on retreat success. Here we dive into crafting transformational guest experiences, talk about how to avoid pitfalls, and unlock marketing secrets. Whether you're a seasoned guru or a budding enthusiast, we've got the inside scoop for you. Join us as we learn how to flourish in this magical world of retreats. Hey guys, welcome back to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. Y'all, today we have a powerhouse couple that I am so excited to talk about because it's not talked about enough, and it's also the opposite of who I am, which makes me really want to talk about it because I think if I had to work with my husband, we might murder each other. But welcome, Mark and Lana, to the show.
Thank you. Thanks
for
for
having us.
I am so excited. So we're going to talk about working with our partners, our romantic partners, whether it's husband, husband, wife, wife, husband, wife, whatever that combination is, not married, but your romantic partners, and having a retreat business together. And I know I kind of started it off like, listen, my husband and I do a lot of work together, a lot. But his vision and my vision when it comes to a retreat experience is so different. And this is just small, but give you an idea. He even joked around, like if it was up to him with our venue, people would have like a sleeping bag and, a candle. And I'm over here like, no, they're Tempur-Pedic mattresses with bamboo sheets. You know what I mean? And so we definitely butt heads when it comes to things like that, although our business mindset is the same for the most part. But I'd love to hear you guys, before we even dig into hosting as a couple, just tell us about yourselves. Who are you guys and what brought you to where you are right now?
Yes, I'm Lana Anderson Royce, and Mark and I have been doing this for a while together. We're entrepreneurs, I think, at heart, and then healing modality, wellness modality comes kind of second, but then they integrate and embody one another just because that's how we do things. I'm a psychotherapist by training, and I got into psychotherapy early on in the 80s and soon found out that there's a lot more to supporting people than that. And then I went into yoga, energy work, hypnotherapy, and just dived in super deep into many different things. And I found out that was helping people a lot more. And I always had this entrepreneur spirit because my parents are both entrepreneurs as well. So I grew up that way. It felt comfortable. And then I met Mark, and I said he was boxing coaching at a title boxing club. And he said, come and try my class. And I said, okay, let's try it. And I was like, whoa, this is the coolest thing. I said, what is this? I said, let's open up one of these. And we were just dating a couple months. And literally within I don't know, 2 months, we had bought the franchise and just started opening up different businesses together. And yeah, that's a little bit about me, and I'll let you talk.
Well, I'm a lifelong martial artist. I started training in the martial arts way back in 1980, and I've been doing it pretty much my entire adult life. And started coaching 87 and have been involved in coaching boxing, kickboxing, mixed martial arts of several different types. I still train, still teach a little bit. At some of our retreats, actually, I do some teaching. So that's my passion, and that's how we connected, was through the martial arts. And we owned and operated some businesses together: fitness centers, boxing gyms, yoga studio. The pandemic hit and it changed everything for us. And we decided at that point that our calling is going a little deeper and we need to do something different. So Lana had just come back after a delayed COVID retreat from Costa Rica that she ran. And she came back in 2021, the beginning of 2021, and said, we're going to sell everything. We're moving to Arizona. We're going to open up a retreat center. And I just looked at her and I said, okay.
Wow.
And we started searching high and low. We found this place here in Peoria, Arizona, fell in love with it, and took us a couple months to furnish the place and get it ready and prepped. And we started hosting retreats about 2 months later. And we just finished our 60th retreat that we hosted here. So
Amazing. Oh my goodness. It's so funny. We have so many parallels in a lot of ways of my spouse and I, because I was also in the mental health field. He was not in martial arts. He was always in business and sales, but that's pretty interesting. Okay, so how did we make that transition? I kind of got it from you, Lana, as far as your field that you were in. And Mark, I can kind of see the correlation, but how did we get into this co-facilitating retreats?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we love when we first got together, I knew my partner needed to be in entrepreneurship with me and have
Hmm.
that spirit of growth, building a business and potentially selling a business, starting things. And Mark is absolutely that. And to that question, uh,
Like, how
it
did it start?
how did this come about? Literally,
it was
when she
it was
came back from Costa Rica, it was we were trying to figure out if we were going to open up more martial arts schools, boxing gyms, yoga studios, and we Lana had thought a lot about it, and she said, if we open a retreat center, we can reach people at a lot deeper level and help them
Yeah.
much more than an hour workout, or an hour yoga class. There's nothing wrong with that, which we still do. We love those things. But when you have someone that's in a contained space for 3, 4, 5, 6 days, you can do life-changing things with them. And that's it just to me, it sounded pretty cool. I'd never done it before. She has. And I was like, well, you got the expertise on this end. I will be your partner in crime, and we'll make it work. And
And since then,
we're doing it.
Mark has been, he went through my 200-hour yoga teacher training. He's now a breathwork practitioner coach, which really you've been doing, but maybe not in this fashion for, since Mark
Yeah.
the artist, because it's
Right.
work.
Hmm.
Um, so he's really um, embodied this whole thing that we're doing, and he is an amazing space holder. I mean, that's what we get from people all the time because I hold space in a different way because I have a much more, I mean, I'm very soft, feminine, earth, mama earth kind of holding space. And that goes a long way. And then when people come and they're like, whoa, this male energy, this masculine energy, it's a whole different dynamic. So when you do your work, it's like people are blown away at the yin yang between us.
Hmm.
And it helps them balance their masculine and feminine energies too. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so what I'm hearing is, especially from you returning from COVID, and both of you just the retreat you were hosting on COVID during COVID, both of you just looking at this like, how can we go deeper? And retreats is what really brought that up. But then you're like, not only are we going to host retreats together, we're going to open up a space, which is a whole nother, can of worms. And
Yeah.
so I'm assuming, and I hate to assume, so I'm going to ask actually, you host at your space, but do you also let other hosts come in and host too?
Yes,
Yes.
I
Yes.
do I want to share with you a little bit about, so when we had our businesses, we were leasing 4 different locations at once. And we had, 7, 10-year leases. And
Mm,
I'm adding this all up going, whoa, as a businesswoman, I'm like, that's a lot of money
mm,
just giving that, I mean, millions of dollars,
right.
giving to someone else. And we're working our butts off. And I said, you know what? I would rather like put it towards that real estate because we couldn't really do a building at that time. We would have needed investors for that. And I'm like, let's do this smart. Instead of working so hard, let's work smarter. And that's where we were like, let's purchase a space and to live in the space. Um, I'll
Yeah,
let you
yeah.
take the rest of that
So
question.
when we searched, we decided the ideal property would be a large villa, or depending on the style, but a large enough space to house or accommodate 15 to 20 guests. That's kind of the
Mhm.
number that we came up with. And so a big enough space, and also enough space within the space for other things like a yoga studio, a media center type room, a training center, or a space for like meditations and things like that, and of course a large kitchen and all that. So we searched for many different properties. We had a realtor friend that was actually from Minnesota, where we were from. He moved down a year before us. He started searching for us, and when he found this location, it's a large two-story villa, 7,000 square feet, 5 bedrooms. We do have 17 beds in the 5 bedrooms, so it's shared accommodations, but it's beautifully laid out and very
Mm-hmm.
comfortable and spacious. And there's 6 bathrooms, so there's plenty of all the amenities you need within the home. There is a yoga studio in the home. We're in the kitchen right now, and the kitchen is a giant gourmet kitchen. So we're like, this is the place, and it has a
Mm-hmm.
separate casita. So we live in our casita, which is a large 1 bedroom, um, separate facility, basically like a mother-in-law apartment. And that's attached to a double sized or double wide RV garage that I turned into my boxing gym and weight room,
Love
which
it.
the boxing gym we use for some of the fitness classes that we do with our retreat guests.
So
So we have a little bit of everything going on. And that's kind of how when we found this place, it was the place.
So
And
to your
just,
question, yes, we rent out the property.
and yes, it,
Yes.
We
No, that's
actually,
good.
we love having other host facilitators that bring their communities here. Like we absolutely love it. And the host facilitators that have been here, I mean, I'm just blown away by the work that they do with their communities. I mean,
Mhm.
you can just feel it. It's
uh,
they're,
Uh,
oh,
And
I
we
love it.
and
It's
we help take
amazing.
some of the stress off of their plate, because one thing is we're on site here to help if there's the what ifs, what if a
Yes.
toilet jams up? Well, I'm the maintenance guy, so I take care of those things. Those the odd things that could happen. But we're also, Lana is an Ayurvedic chef, and
Mm.
if they want a meal plan, we can take care of any or all of their meals, so they don't have to focus on that. They don't have to contract out a chef. They have it on site. And we, of course, know our kitchen better than anybody. So we actually prepare most of the meals in the casita and bring it over. So we keep the space quiet during prep time and cleanup time, so that if they are in a session beforehand or after, a meal time, we're not interfering with that. So, because we understand what it takes to run a retreat, because we do it. So,
Hey, retreat leaders, pause that retreat planning for just a second, because I've got something you do not want to miss. I'm headed to London this October to host a live event that's all about teaching you how to host a retreat that's not just transformational, but actually profitable. Imagine sipping tea or champagne with other like-minded leaders while mapping out your next sold-out retreat. It's happening at the gorgeous Waldorf Hilton in London. I'm spilling all the secrets, from pricing to planning, marketing to mindset, and you'll walk away with a strategy you can actually use. No fluff, no BS, just results. So head to retreatmastermindtraining.com and come join me across the pond. That's the key, I think. A lot of retreat centers, by the way, I prefer retreat centers, period. If you're a host listening, I prefer retreat centers. If you just saw my post or go back, I do not use Airbnb and VRBO. I
Thank
cannot
you.
stress that enough. Do not do that for so many legal reasons, for so many reasons. Anyway, I prefer retreat centers. But the real just magic is retreat centers run by or owned by retreat hosts, because they know the stress that the host is going through. They know the nuances. They know like the little moving parts. They know just all those little teeny nuances that because you've been through it. And so I love that you guys are using your space not just for your retreats, but for other hosts to come in and bring their magic to your space. So that's awesome. I want to know about the struggles. Because here's the thing, a lot of people are listening to this because I get approached all the time about people wanting to open their own space. And I've got lots of great thoughts about it and some very big warnings in my mind. And so I'd love to hear from you guys, like, tell me obviously it's working. We know it's working. 90, probably 9% of the time it's working great. But tell me about when you first were building and planning and trying to figure out how the space layout was and what, all those things. Like, how does that work as a couple working together where you're both invested? Because, usually it's like the one person is, you know what I mean? Like one person says, but then if the other person says no, so talk to me about
I
that.
think
We have our roles,
I was gonna say, yeah, we
Lana,
stay in each
yeah.
other's lanes. We try to stay in our lanes, right? Like I think early on, especially like the menus and the meals, he would try to like say, "Well, what about this?" And I'd say, "Stay in your lane. This is my lane. That's your lane,"
Yeah.
and like to be lighthearted about it and just remind each other like what we are actually our responsibilities are versus your responsibilities and
Mm-hmm.
not overstepping those boundaries. It
Mm-hmm.
really is about boundaries and respect
Yeah.
for what each other does. And also trust. I mean, he trusts me with what I do. Like he doesn't interfere with the yoga stuff, the wellness.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I entered her world is by going into this. She was already in this world, and it's pretty cool because she has the skill set. She's a psychotherapist, she's a hypnotherapist, a lifelong yogi. All of those things has her in the position of being able to connect with people at a much deeper level. I'm that her support. So when there's a workshop or a session, she's running those. Do I participate on those? Most of the time, if it's women only on our retreat, I will step away. So I allow it to be women only in those situations. This is our retreats.
Yeah.
So, um, and we've developed that connection to where it's like we just know when we put out an itinerary for the retreat what I'm going to be involved in and what she's going to be involved in, and it doesn't even have to be said anymore. At first, there was a little bit, she wanted me to do more than I was capable of, and then we figured that out. Well, there's only certain things that has to handle. I can't be involved with. So
Yeah.
that worked itself out pretty quickly. The main struggles that we've seen in the industry um, from 4 years ago to today is really what I feel a little bit of oversaturation. There's a
Mm.
lot of people from 2021, 2022. I think people coming out of COVID, during COVID, they're like, I want to go to a retreat. I want to get to a retreat. I need some healing. I need some. And then they go to a retreat and they see, 30 people at this retreat that paid 3,000 each. And they do the math in their head and they're like, oh, this retreat host just made $90,000. I'm going to run a retreat and I'm going to make $90,000. So there's been a lot of that of people that there's nothing
Oh,
wrong
we've
with
seen
with
that.
it. You've seen it. I know you've seen
Mm-hmm.
it, but a lot of it they're not experienced business wise, and every retreat that is run is a separate business. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's a actual start a business, run a business, and finish a business all in
Yeah.
one retreat. And
Yeah.
it's a lot. So we've seen that oversaturation and a lot of people doing the Airbnb routes where they don't have any support for one. They don't have the right facilities. I mean, they're doing yoga in a muddy, grassy area because that's all they have. I mean,
Yeah.
things like that. So, um, that's what I've seen for the struggles, and it has diluted the guest base. There's not as many guests to choose from because they're spread a little more thin, but
I
we
think
still make it work.
I think the struggles between us as a couple, because I think you were kind of addressing that. The struggles with us as a couple is like we're together all the
Yeah,
time.
sometimes we want to do
Like,
this
yeah,
Right.
I just
Yeah, that's the reality. I mean,
and that'll be
that's
it's your
it.
turn. And and I think
in a loving
that's
way.
the point is like we're always together. We love being together. Like we tried it the other way about opening other businesses and Mark would be over there, I'd be over here, and we wouldn't be together. And we really enjoy each other's companies, even if we're like, ah,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
it's we authentically communicate. We don't hold anything back. And I
Yeah.
think that's the key to overcoming any of the struggles because there are
Oh,
struggles,
yeah.
There
and
are.
from marketing ideas to financial to different ideas on how to do something, we have the same outcome. Like we both want the same thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And we know each other, we have each other's back. And
Yeah.
that's what gets us through any of the struggles.
I love the fact that if you just focus on the end goal and that you know that both of you are aiming for that, then you don't take the rest of it personally. At least that's what my husband and I try to focus on. I
Yes.
want to, and then I'll talk about some of the struggles we've had and we can compare notes. But I want to know, or I want to touch base on what you said, Mark, about the oversaturation and all of that stuff, because there's some really cool things that came out of this time period. And then there are some challenges. The cool thing is, more and more people say and feel they know that they need a retreat. So, more than ever, it came to our attention during that time period that we need something more than just an app on our phone. We've got to get in person. We've got to do the work in person. We've got to remove the outer chaos and the to-do lists and the titles and all the other stuff, and we've got to remove ourselves and do it. So I do think that became more. I've been in this business for 15 years, that it became more aware during that than any other time. So that's our blessing, right? The difficulty is everybody and their sister now thinks they can host retreats. I look at it as it's proof of concept, right? It's proof of concept, and I'm going to stay in my lane and I'm going to do my very best, and that will speak for itself, which yes, it does. The other thing that someone once told me, because also during COVID, another industry that really, really blew up was real estate, right?
Yeah.
Not only the housing market, but all these people became realtors. And one of my best friends is a top, and I mean top producing realtor in the Dallas market. And I'll never forget what she said. And I'm going to probably destroy how she said it, but she's like, I'm like, are you like everybody and their mother is selling real estate now in your market? And they're all popping up all these signs, And she's like, I'm not worried because I'll still be here when the dust settles. Like I'm going to stay doing what I do and I will still be the one here on the other side of this when they realize it's more work than they thought, when they realize you don't just pop a sign up or put your retreat on the website. Like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm not so worried about the ones who are just saying, I'm just going to try this to make money. It doesn't bother me. But I do want to support the ones who like, I want to make this a business because that is still good for all of us, right? Even if there are more, because there's more people wanting retreats. And the good news is somebody's going to come to my retreat and go, man, I really love this. They might come to another one of mine. I have a good return rate, but I'm okay if they just now are like, hey, let's go check out, Mark and Lana's retreat now. And let's go check out somebody else's retreat where they may have never done it at all in the past.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the way I view all of it. It's like, come on, the more good retreat leaders, the better, truly, the better. And the ones that are not so good because their heart's not in it, they're motivated the wrong way, they don't have the work ethic or the business ethic, and they don't want to learn it, that they'll fall off. They'll fall off and go somewhere else. And I don't wish that for someone, but that's what's going to happen. They're just going to fall off. And so I really am like, this is good. I look at this as bring it because it also helps me step up my game. I was
Yeah.
getting really comfortable. If I'm being honest, my retreats were on, I won't say wash and repeat, but I knew what I was doing and I was getting comfortable. And this really helps me to go, Shannon, don't you dare. Every single human that shows up in your space deserves your best, not your comfortable best, your everyday, you know what I mean? Like the best. And so I have looked at it as like, this is so good for me to grow and it's good for the ones that are in the industry. That's the way that I'm trying to focus on it because you can get sidetracked with all the noise that's out there. Trust me, I do get that. But the other thing is to differentiating your voice. Like you, I guess I can tell y'all have a super dynamic voice together and separate. And that's different. That's interesting. That's magnetic. And focusing on that is like, yes, this is what makes you guys stand out from my retreats or somebody else's retreats that's listening. And so I think that's where your powerhouse is. And I love that.
Thank you.
I will say me and my husband would not run retreats very well. And I love him so much if he's even listening to this right now. Because we are in two totally different spaces. He is very, very business minded, which I am too. We talked about before we started recording that I'm not here for a hobby. I'm here for a business. But I'm very empathetic at the same time, where my husband doesn't always have that attribute, and that's okay. But also, he's just like I mentioned earlier, he literally is like, what do you mean you're buying those beautiful fluffy robes? Nobody needs beautiful fluffy robes. And I'm like, everybody loves the fucking robes. Everybody that comes to the ranch tells me how much they love the robes. And so that's where we like, eh. And so we do stay in our lanes, like very specific lanes. So I love that you said that. It's like, I have everything to do with the retreat operations, retreat business. But when I'm wanting to build something new, or I'm wanting to change something that has to do with like structure or mechanics or plumbing or any of that, I'm like, here's what I want. And however you make it happen, I'm not going to get in the middle of that. I'm out. Whatever. If you want to take whatever it is, because we used to get tied up in that where I'd be like, why are you doing it that way to build something? And he's like, I will give you what you want, but I'm doing it my way. And so we've stayed in our lanes, and I think that is such good advice for any partners that are working together is to, and as you said, Mark, you will figure it out. Like pretty quickly, you'll go, no. My experience is here. And his is like, he's very much into like running long-term numbers. He's very good on ROI. He's very analytical in that. And he'll start asking me questions, and I'm like, oh shit, QuickBooks does that for me. What are you talking about? And so that's where our strengths lay. And he's very good at saying, okay, you want this building built on the property. This is what it's going to take, blah, 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 and all these things. And I'm like, I don't care. I just want it to look like this Pinterest picture. Okay. And so,
Exactly, exactly.
so we work really hard to stay in our lanes. And I'm really glad you said that. How do you guys feel about living on the space? Because I have mixed feelings on this. Living in the space that you host retreats at. How does that feel for you? How does that flow?
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it because we are so simple. Like the casita that we're in, it has everything we need. And then we don't have to drive anywhere. Everything's right here. We're close to everything. I absolutely love it. And then when no one's here, we can enjoy the property.
Yeah.
So
and
I
and and
love
and
it.
it basically, it's a resort-like setting. So, with the pool, the hot tub,
Mm,
the hiking right outside of our gate onto the
mm,
And
mountain.
we have the chickens here.
Yeah,
So
we have chickens for our
yeah.
fresh, farm eggs every day. And
And our dog is here. Our dog is absolutely 100% of the retreats.
yeah,
If people don't like dogs, they're
we,
probably not gonna like our space. I mean, Bodhi, the enlightened one, is like such a healer. I mean,
yeah.
everyone is just like, can I take him home?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. So, Mark, you also love living on the space on the property
I
itself.
do. I do. I feel like we're supposed to be here, and
Mm,
and that again, even if we have a retreat guest that rent the property and they don't want us to do the meals, they want to just do everything themselves. I think the peace of mind that they have, knowing that there is, almost like built in both security and maintenance all in one here,
yeah.
is kind of nice. Because even though we're in the city limits, our property, it's only 2.5 acres, but it feels bigger than that
Hmm.
because it's on a mountain preserve. Nobody can ever build back there. It looks like it's in the middle of the wilderness.
Love
So
it.
it's a secluded property within the city, and it can feel almost like you're out in the outside world.
Yeah.
So someone that pulls in here, comes into this place, and then they're spending time here, they're like, this is so quiet, and it's full of nature. We have the coyotes, we have bobcats, we even have a mountain lion that lives on the mountain. We have the javelinas, all kinds of birds and eagles and hawks and owls so and tons of bunnies. So, all this
Quail.
wildlife, so it feels like a little sanctuary.
Love
So
it.
I get to feel that every day and go, because I love nature. So
Yeah.
it feels right. There's that feeling every once in a while when we do have retreat hosts that are running it, to where I feel like maybe we should take off for the day and just give them, let them know that we're not even, we're not here to be in
Sure.
their space. They have the whole space to themselves, and we do. So we'll take
Yeah.
off, and maybe we'll go on an adventure out, and a drive, or because there's a lot to see and do in Arizona. It's big.
I'll give you a situation where it came in handy, not necessarily that we lived here, but that we are retreat hosts as well. We had a friend who is a yoga teacher. She moved down to Arizona and she wanted to host a retreat from her group from North Dakota. She just moved from North Dakota. And she had 15 gals already signed up, paid everything. And her dad died
Mm,
like a week before.
mm,
So she was dealing with that. Everyone had, flights planned, vacation planned, all this stuff. Of course, there's trip insurance, you can have that.
sure.
But all these, I mean, that's a lot of people to like cancel it.
Right.
So we took over the retreat for her.
Beautiful.
And so we did the whole retreat as if whatever she had planned. No, it's not her energy,
Sure.
but we took over. They came back the following year
Yes,
because
I
they
love
loved it
it.
so much. And then she was able to attend. But
Yeah, I
then it was a
love
peace
that.
of mind for her too,
Hmm.
to know that her guests were taken care of as if
Yeah,
she were taking care of them.
I love it. So my husband and I have it's hard. He loves everything about living on the property. I love our property. I love our property. I love everything about it. Um, and this is where I warn people who want to live there, on their property. I never shut it off though.
Yeah.
I never, even when I'm driving onto my property, I'm like, oh, that sign's crooked. Oh, that needs to be weeded. Oh, and I'm not thinking like because it's my home, I'm thinking because of the business. I'm like, oh, that needs to be done or that needs to be done. And I'm literally going through a checklist the whole time. And even when I'm here on the property, because we live on the back of the property in a house, and then um, the rest of everything is the first 30 acres. But I am like, I never ever shut it off, like ever. Whether even when there's not guests here, but especially when there are guests here, I'm like, is our stuff too loud? Are we interrupting something? What time is it right now? Let me look at their itinerary. What are they doing right now to make sure that we're not, you know what I mean? And so it
Yeah.
never ever
Mhm.
ever shuts off. So when people are like, "Oh, you live in this place, it's so amazing," I'm like, it is, but it never shuts off when you live here. And so
Really
there
good point.
there are times, little fractional moments when I'm like, I would like to drive in a separate whole property, even if it was next door, and have my separate whole space that I don't care if the damn weeds are too high or whatever it is, those happen. But you know what I do? I take lots of vacation and we go off the property a lot because we are lucky that we have a couple that lives here on the property with us, and they are our primary caretakers of the retreat space and stuff. But I, that is my only thing that I try to warn people who want to build or live in the space is, if you can compartmentalize really well, like my husband does. He is a master at it. It never bothers him, and he'll admit that it just doesn't. There's no part of it that bothers him. He loves every single piece of it. He loves meeting the people. He loves it when they come back to our property because they can walk anywhere, so they'll come back to our house. He loves all of it, and I love that too, but I can't turn off the working part. Like it doesn't, it's just and it's a Shannon thing. And maybe you have that, maybe you don't, but that would be my only thing I would
I,
offer.
I,
No,
I can,
Shannon, I hear you and I see you.
I can relate to that completely because, I grew up spending the summers in northern Minnesota. My uncle owned a resort, a fishing resort, and it was a small 5 cabin resort. But my aunt and uncle lived on site in the
Mhm.
resort. That was their home too. She was a school teacher, he was a bricklayer, and they ran the resort. The resort basically was seasonal, so it paid for itself. But I would spend the summers there and see how this all happened, where they'd have to intermingle with the guests
Yep.
all the time. There
Hmm.
was no separation. So
Hmm.
their summers was that, and they were working I mean, from sunup past sundown every day
Right.
of the week.
We get
But
it.
they loved it. They
Yeah.
loved that life. And I think it transfers over to this because you're right. We're constantly, I mean, even when we take a break from the marketing and maybe we decided, let's just go sit outside for a little while. Oh, that needs to be trimmed. That
Yes.
needs to be fixed. And then
Completely.
there's no sitting down and relaxing because there's something to find to do always.
Go to like once a week, we'll go to a coffee shop just to get out in a
Yes.
different space. And even in the coffee shop, we're always constantly like marketing or like, like it's business.
Yeah.
We're always
Upgrades and
busy.
everything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if we go on a retreat, like
Yes. Oh
we're
yeah.
on a retreat and it's hard to turn your host facilitator venue mind off, it's
Yeah.
really good for us to go on retreats. But that is something
Yeah.
that is always rough.
Which I think we're going to have to talk about doing some
Yeah.
kind of an exchange because I
I
love
know.
Texas. I absolutely
Oh,
love
and I love
Texas.
Arizona. I have family in Arizona, all over Arizona. So
Nice.
I love it. So, well, y'all, this was so great. I hope that anybody who's considering venue owning or renting will look you guys up. I know you had a special offer for our listeners. Do you guys want to share what that is?
Yes. If you would like to rent our property as a host facilitator, you get $500 off the retreat venue.
By mentioning your podcast.
Yes,
Whoop, whoop.
only by mentioning that.
Yes.
Awesome.
And that's on a 3-day minimum.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, y'all, please check out their space. I looked at their website and it looks phenomenal. It does look very, very peaceful, beautiful, set in nature. I love that you guys are up against that space where it cannot be built on, which is just invaluable in so many different ways. So it looks beautiful. Please check it out. They are listed in the show notes, but also I believe their website is Blisstopia Retreats.
Correct.
That's
.com. And so please take the time to look them up. Thank you guys so much for being on the show.
So much
Thank you,
gratitude.
Shannon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. Learn more at www.theretreatranch.com. See you next time.